Greetings and salutations, malefactors and YouTubers. We're looking at some Chinesium handguards. I think these are the AXN handguards from Amazon. These run you about $26. And I've had varying middling success with, I guess, Chinesium handguards in the past. So what they come with is two aluminum bark busters with plastic covers on the outside. These vary of color or specification, size. Basically any popular brand, there's a knockoff for it. The closest I can tell, these are like the circa knockoffs. Now you notice that the cuts and everything aren't, you know, top notch, any of that stuff. I mean, you are kind of getting what you pay for in this case. And where you have the cuts for these bar ends, there's no notched end for the bar end, so you have a flat side here. It looks like they meant to notch it out, but they never got around to doing that. So there's a few design flaws about these right off the bat. A lot of these handguards, they have these metal, or basically like soft aluminum handlebar grips. And I mean, they're not terrible. But the first thing you're going to notice, and I have it in one of my early RM videos, I clip a tree and it just flops right up on my hand and I crush my hand. So we're going to note one of the big bad things about these things and fat bars. So right off the bat, pull these little bolts out. First off, these bolts are tiny, absolutely infinitesimal. Post office. Wonder if that's my switch. Maybe, maybe not. Nope, that's for somebody else. So the first thing you're going to note on these when you put them on is that they're not really tapered. And normally where your guards will sit is right here on the tapered part of the bar. And it's actually not too loose of a fit, so we're just going to have to see how these kind of pan out. The other problem is when they're not tapered, they don't angle very well. So we'll kind of see where this goes from here. What kind of unique challenges this presents. Normally what I have to do with these Chinesium grips is buy the Tusk bar clamp adapters and kind of cobble together pieces of this handguard, and normally you'll wind up doing the whole thing for about $50-something. So you save a little bit of money, but not that much. But I tried a different brand and we're gonna see how this goes. Now first off, with these bar ends not being trimmed down to accept the clamps and keep them in place, there's one thing I keep a steady stock of in my toolbox. Maybe or maybe not, I've tried a lot of these hand guards, and I might or might not have like a significant library of clamps. Let's see if maybe I've got a couple of backup bar clamps here. Yeah. Regular graveyard of bar clamps. I should just use the hardware they're supplied with, but doesn't hurt looking if you have some spare stuff that might work a little better. I actually have the tap kit to hard mount these things, to tap and hard mount these things to your bars, which I have done a few times. Yeah, it looks like we might be out of spare bar mounts. Yeah, here we go. That's what the bar clamp looks like. You tap that bad boy in there and it doesn't go anywhere. But yeah, it looks like I'm fresh out of spare Chinesium mounts. Oh, we'll give this a shot. And if it doesn't work, then I'll just purchase parts to make it work. And what we're going to do once these are put on, going to take my handy dandy street glove and we're going to impersonate Street Fighter and Haruken the clamp to see if it stays in place. So these dudes right here are for steel bars, and for some ungodly reason, if you keep your factory steel soft brie cheese bars, you would put those in as an additional spacer. They're essentially junk. So what tools do you need to do bar ends? Well, you need a knife. That's a good start. I'm just making sure my leaks are good here. Yeah, leaking from there. And I still have some drip off from yesterday. I should probably tighten down my drain plug a little bit. Anyways, so on your Pro Taper grips, there's actually a line here where you cut. When you're mounting these things, and you might also need a hacksaw depending on where your throttle tube falls, because you don't want to have your guard on interfering with your throttle tube. You'll want approximately 1/8 of an inch, 1/16 to 1/8 of an inch of clearance to make sure that this thing doesn't get against your throttle tube and stick. See, I might actually be able to adjust that in and move my light switch, but a lot of these aren't open on the end, so we'll need to address the spacing issue. Same with the other side. Let's dance. Alright. Do. Not quite off. Again, I'm doing it from a bad angle. You throw your leftover grip nipples away. This side's not absolutely as crucial to get the spacing right, because, well, you're not potentially getting your throttle stuck and having an adventure. A very bad adventure, a very crappy adventure, let me tell you. And maybe I might have screwed up an install on one of these before. I might just have a little bit of first-hand experience on what goes wrong when you don't put these things in right. So let's see. Yeah, I probably could move that light switch to a different spot. Alright, we're gonna grab a screwdriver and do a little adjustment on the throttle. So when the throttle has your free play, you want about this much clearance to the metal on the bars. Yeah, and I could use a new screw there, but see where we have that indentation? That's from doing the old lock plier trick. Alrighty. So what's the next step in this beautiful, beautiful step? You notice I get my favorite thing in the world, my favorite tool, which is cut up inner tube. We're going to use that to kind of cinch these mounts down if they land right on the tapered part of the bar. So the way these work are a lot like tap anchors in a house. So like when your builder forgets to put in, or your framer forgets to put in your anchors that keeps your house attached to the ground, they have these little wedge anchors they toss in there, and basically as you tighten the bolt down, it fans out a knurled deal on the wedge anchor. Yeah, I think I'm gonna want a different clamp for that. So anywho, you feed these in here. And you might have to give them a little love tap to get them in. So keep a hammer handy. By the way, when you buy your Chinese tapered bars, that little end is actually smaller than a normal deal. Where did I put you, MC Hammer? Well, it looks like my hammer's briefly MIA, so we're going with my next favorite hammering device. So before you commit to putting this in here, you're going to want to cinch down this part of the bolt so it's nice and relatively tight in there. The problem is this will not cinch itself down. Yeah. I'm telling you, this thing is just bigger than the bar end. On my Chinese Pro Taper knockoff, I end up having to actually drill the edge of the bar out to get my handguards in. Nope. Well, that's certainly an interesting dilemma. I doubt they'll want to take him back after I get done just hammering the crap out of this thing. Well, let's see if the other side. And that's one other thing, is the machine tolerances of these things are not incredible. Let's try the other side though. Maybe we'll have more luck with the other fitting. Looks to be cut a little thinner. Now you're starting to realize why I have a graveyard of spare handguard parts. Alrighty. Alright, so it's nice and partially fit in there. I'm going to try guard number 2. Well, that one doesn't appear to be going anywhere. Alright, so we've got one good handguard flange. I'm going to need to dig up another one. Though I'm not entirely sold on this handguard flange because it doesn't have the sides cut. We shall see though. So, you have this bit right here, and you start partially cinching down to see if you can get the little drop anchor in there to start holding position. But yeah, you see these are notched properly like the original product. I'm having a feeling without this being notched, this is not going to hold very well. But who knows? I might be made a believer. But trust me, my skepticism is rooted in experience. And when you cut your inner tubes, make sure you take them in and wash them off. So you get all of the powder off the inside of it. Boy, these bolts are mighty short. Alright, so there's some aspects of this hardware I'm not entirely fired up about. Most of the screws holding the mount in appear to be very, very short. So these are a generic M-style size screw, hex head. So I might see if I have some longer ones in there just to kind of give me some peace of mind. Actually, you know what? No. Fight the urge, Michael. Don't try and improve upon the design. Just work with what you got. We'll improve upon the design when I prove that it either does or doesn't work. One thing you guys have to kind of learn about me is I get really wound up and wind the head problems off at the pass. Huh. Dirt in the threads. Okay, so far the threaded connectors for this thing are mighty short. So where does this bad boy fall? Over or under the brake line? Looks like we're gonna go under. See, that's what I mean, it falls at the taper. Oh goodness, throwing parts on the ground. That didn't sound good. Alright, let's get our bits and bobs on the ground. The part you're gonna really want to kind of feed on first is the front bolt. And you'll grab yourself some Loctite once you kind of get figured out how you're gonna get this on there. So what's a bit helpful is figuring first how it's going to want to sit, which, looking at this, not going to want to sit very well. Alrighty. So as you notice, where this kind of thing kind of wants to naturally sit, not a very convenient location for you. Kind of against your brake line. But even the name brand stuff actually kind of has that issue too. The trick is, in the name brand stuff, your mounts generally have like a little pivot point, so you can kind of line things up a little better. It's like, oh, that's nowhere near lined up. Why are you kind of getting started like that? There's a method to this madness when you do these hand guards. Trust me, it's not a pretty deal. So the trick is, you're going to want to get it to feed in as straight as you can. Come on, buddy. It's like two very unwilling participants in this game right now. And you're very close. So you get it mostly lined up, and then you get it partially tightened on there. Get it cinched about halfway down. That way you have like a basis to move with, but you don't want it cinched too far down because you're going to have issues with it later on. Alright, so we've got I'll have to admit, I am not digging the way that it is mounted on there. Not feeling it. So with how short this is, you know what? Hate to admit it, but AXIN handguards, your hardware package is not confidence inspiring. I really don't want to cut my brake line up just to put on your mounts. So, given how short these are, we're going to go over to a spare pair of bars. Notice how these are Chinesium grips, and we have the tusk mounts. I have spare 7/8 tusk mounts, and this is the reason why they work better, is these bar ends right here are adjustable. Sorry to almost immediately give up on that hardware pack, but I saw where this was going. I've done this dance before. I have done this dance and I really didn't like where it took me. Alright, so sorry this isn't a raw review of the hold downs, but maybe it'll save you some trouble in the future when you're trying to put this stuff together and you're going, oh my god, none of this stuff is fitting on here. The heck, bro? Let's see, what were these, 10s? So the other thing that's about these 7/8 mounts is A, they're swivel, which is nice, but B, it's nylock, so you don't have to rely on your Loctite for every aspect of it. I'm probably running low on video here. We're gonna get one successfully on so you guys kind of get a feel for what to do about it. So my advice is, if you have the 7/8 bars on any of these Chinesium grips, I have yet to have a successful experience with the handlebar hardware on a set. My advice is just be preemptive. Buy the tusk bits for it, or if you don't really want to mess with piecemealing your stuff together, then just buy the name brand stuff. But hey, there's no thing worth doing that doesn't require a modicum of hard work, dedication, and a bit of sacrifice. Alright. So this brake line is actually proving to be a little bit of a pain to deal with. So we're going to do a little bit of work to this bad boy. We're going to peel that brake line loose so we can kind of manipulate it around the grips. And it's not something that's completely foreign to this deal. Loosening up stuff to move it is a regular part of the process. Putting on hand guards is always kind of a headache. But you notice it's not going to sit here and chafe against the line as badly. Let's see what we got here. Alright, so we got Chinesium grip. Got start of a tapered bar, which might prove to be a little problematic because the 7/8 mount is only going to want to go so far. I think we can make it work. It's not super happy in this arrangement, but we can kind of make it work. We can make it happen, Captain. And eventually you probably do want to invest in the proper mount for this. Yeah, we can get that to sit. Alrighty. Anywho. So right off the bat, unfortunately, the handlebar mounts on this kit are hot garbage. That's fine though, that's fine. There's aspects of them that can be salvaged. Assuming I can find the bolt that came out of that. Well, that's not good. Now I've got tons of these spare bolts just kicking around all over the place, so as I said, I've put together a set of 2 of these and abandoned the hardware on a bunch of them. Funny enough, a lot of this stuff is kind of universal hardware. Alrighty. So we feed through. Nothing's still relatively nice and loose. Get you guys to be agreeable and line up partially. And you leave everything kind of loosey-goosey until the final tighten down. And see, you wouldn't think that's still loosey-goosey, but that is still loosey-goosey on there. Oh, actually, that's pretty much ready for the final tighten down. Now, the trick is, can I tap this mount a little further up so I can get to be a little more agreeable with the bars and the brake. Give a little taparoo. So these aren't quite the mounts that you use for a set of 1 1/8" tapered bars. But you know what? Necessity is the mother of invention. Once you get these tight enough, the nylock should stay in place. You can kind of finger hold them to get everything kind of cinched up. Goodness. Yeah, they are not wanting to stay in place. Alright. So got a little bit of time. Alrighty. So our bolts here are being a little cantankerous. You can't quite fit the socket in there to keep it in place. Alright, so we've got that cinched down. Ooh. Yeah, don't worry about that. It's just a tire machine deal. Hey, calm down, buddy. I'll get to your side here in a bit. They're a little high. Not bad. Generally, I like them a little lower. They'll still protect the levers in the event of a crash. Certainly protect my hands. Alrighty, so how do we grip the ungrippable bolts in the bottom? Well, that's a good question, boys and girls. We're gonna try and find a tin that just fits on there. Could have probably put inner tube in here and been in better shape. All right. All right, we'll just tighten it down the old-fashioned way and see if it holds in place. Come on, fella. That's why you need to tighten these stupid multi-Allens quite a bit. They like to fall out of adjustment. Alright. Crank you back down. Got my bolt stayer holder in placer. Get the front. Get that bolt stayer holder in placer. Get this front one. Crank that bad boy down. There we go. And we'll see if we've cobbled these things together enough to have a set of handguards. At least one handguard. Successfully mount one handguard. Oh goodness. Come on, screwdriver. Wow, this is actually kind of working. That's frightening. So try and keep your bolts relatively of equal tightness when you're putting these on. This actually looks like it's on there pretty tight. Yeah, it's not going anywhere. So it's after you've cinched down that bar a bit, cinch down all of your other connections. And now for the big moment of truth. Grab the glove and do a Hadouken. So these Decade street gloves, I kind of got them on Everride's recommendation. And they're not bad. The only thing is with the padding in here, it gets a bit uncomfortable to ride on the street. So, it's a straight on blow. Yeah, that's not gonna hold in place. So, not very impressive. Yeah, that's about the best I can do. Try tightening down more. Huh, that's strange. We'll just wrench these things down to oblivion. Alright, we're back. I ended up getting my switch in. We'll worry about that here in a little bit once I make some progress on this bad boy. Bolt, you are going nowhere. We're gonna tighten you down to the nth degree. Tell you down how to go right-handed on this bad boy. Ugh. Maybe that'll be the silver bullet that gets these things on. Whew. I don't want to strip or hit this one in the front too hard because that will strip out that aluminum. But I am going steel to steel here. Alright, let's grab our Ryu glove and give that thing another Hadouken. Actually, Hadouken's fireball. Shoryuken is the uppercut, I believe. Yeah, that's staying in place. Whew, one more. Ah, no, that's not. That hurt. That's staying in place. Whew. All right, so we've successfully mounted a Chinesium handguard. Now we just gotta do the other side. I'm not gonna bother filming that process because you guys already watched the struggle on this side. So thanks for hanging in there. And my bruised hand thanks you. Well, gotta make sure it works. I'll see you next time.